Hi everyone, it's Diane. I told you in the previous video that I was going to show you what I worked on yesterday that really didn't have anything to do with my current journals. It was just something I felt like doing. This is my drawer, plastic drawer. It's quite a good size and it's got a lot of offcuts. Even from years ago, way down in the bottom. There's so much in here and it's just getting full. So I decided to just sew the pieces together into a big sheet. I'll get rid of this. And it's kind of funny because I worked on that and then I watched Gail's video last night that she was making some smaller collage papers. They were good size, but not as long as this. But she was using, I think, mostly smaller pieces of paper. So it seems like, and I've seen someone else doing things with scraps too. So it seems like maybe at the end of the year, we just feel like we've got to do something with our scraps. So, and this is very, very quick. This one took the longest because I got down to smaller pieces. So all I did was take out a stack of those papers from that drawer and just take them in the order that they came in pretty much and just sew them together. When I reached this one, it was smaller pieces, but that was really fun to put them together. And even this one had some tags cut out of it, so I just sewed it on there. And this one does have some double-sided. So this one was kind of a tag shape that must be didn't work, and I cut another tag out of it. I'm not really sure. It's been in there for a while. But I just stitched on just like that. So when I do my domestic arts journals or my larger journals like that, I've got these ready-made large sheets of paper that I can cut down to whatever size I want. I can fold them. And at that point, I will do any extra stitching that I need to do, like if I want to stitch that down, or I could even use it as a tuck. So there's that one. This one was pretty straightforward. It's pretty much just 12-inch strips, except for that right there. And there's a lot of double-sided on this one. Then there was this one. And I left this open here. I can add something to it later if I want to. And this one has, you know, those two are the same from the same sheet and those two, so I just alternated them. And there's quite a bit of double-sided here too. These are scraps that I was saving because I liked them and I wanted to use them, and I just haven't done it, so let's take care of them. So there's that one. And for here I had some shorter pieces, so I just put a horizontal piece up there. And there's a lot of double-sided on this one. Again, just a little piece up there. This one I didn't sew across the bottom because I thought possibly, depending on how it goes into whatever book I use, it could be a pocket, and if I don't want it to be, I can sew it. And then there's this one. I have two horizontal strips across the top. And this one doesn't have as much double-sided paper. So that's what I'm going to do right now with you. I'm just going to pull out a stack of paper. Now these three I had pulled out last night, but I decided not to use them because there's ledger and graph on them, and I can use these to make embellishing tags or cards. So I'm going to set those aside and use them for another purpose. We've got some small pieces here. So I'm just going to set them over here until I get something a little bit bigger put together. So I'll just take them in the order that they come in. And I didn't care if they were upside down or sideways or whatever. I'm going to have to move things so that you can see what I'm doing. Hopefully you can see there. I don't want to be too long because the previous video was almost half an hour and I had a hard time uploading it from my phone. I'm using the zigzag. I could sew something to this piece before I sewed it to this, you know, to make it longer. But I like actually having the various lengths would be fine in those domestic arts types of books that I make. Provides interest. I sprayed some color on the pages of the journal that I'm working on, so I've got red and blue. Look at that. It was really blue because I was holding my paper, and when I sprayed, the nozzle was aimed at my hand and not the paper. So my hand was very blue. I have this little piece. I'm just going to sew it on here. And I'll leave the top open because, again, it might become a pocket. But even with making, I think I made 6 of these sheets last night, and I still had my you saw how full my bucket is. It's ridiculous. I probably figured I would cut this apart and make stuff out of it, but no, it's just going to get sewn on. I used about 5 or 6 lengths of paper, depending on how wide they were. They are bigger than what I need for my big journals, but I may want to fold some, make a flap. These are such fun papers, and doing this, you don't have to think about how to coordinate what goes with what. You just grab what's next on the pile. I think I'll add one more to this piece. Those numbers are upside down, but I don't care. So this one has a lot of numbers on it. Here, here, and here. That's cool. And the ruler, too. So if I spent an hour doing this one day, I could diminish. Oh, I got to put one more on there to make it the same, about the same as the others. So I could diminish the pile of stuff in that bucket drawer. I love this paper. That would make such a cool tag, wouldn't it? I'm going to save that and make a tag out of it. Last night I didn't have, or yesterday when I was doing this, I didn't have the phone tripod sitting there getting in my way. hope the sewing machine doesn't make the phone shake too much. I don't think I've ever done a video with my phone using the sewing machine. My tripod is clamped onto my table, so it might shake. I'll check that out. Okay, so there's one. I'm going to do one more. You could use decorative stitches too. Use a different colored thread and use decorative stitches or straight stitch or whatever. You could glue them. You don't have to sew them. So I think I'll take these smaller pieces and sew them together and see what we do with them. Mostly the pieces in that drawer are bigger pieces. I have another little container that has the little pieces that are smaller than this. I'll have to do something with them too. This is scrapbook paper with a map on it. Pretty colors.